Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes, and a very special one again because we've got an old friend of the channel, someone I enjoy talking to immensely, and who has very kindly decided to come on and give up some of her valuable time to speak to me today. It is, of course, Lesley Roberts. I know she's very modest about these things, but a lot of people sort of think that the things she's done are incredibly brave. Now, first of all, hello, Lesley.
Hello, David.
How are you doing?
All right.
All right. Good to hear. Now, you've got some interesting news, I think, that people will be, I think, astonished, to be honest, about what you're about to tell people. But it's with regards to the COVID inquiry, something you worked on diligently and tirelessly for quite some time, isn't it? Please tell the good people where you are with that and what has just recently happened.
Well, let's revert back to what happened right at the start. So, at the start, when the government in England and the Assembly up here basically announced there was going to be COVID inquiries, given the work that I had put into it, and given the role that I held within, I was registered nurse, infection link control nurse, and there was also Unite the Union, accredited rep, health and safety, quality and diversity, and general workplace. Given the fact that I was kind of using the term leader of the gang, when you're the rep, you tend to be the kind of lead person who takes things forward for the members and whatever. I submitted to both inquiries. And I found it really, really incredible that the UK inquiry would not accept any submission because they said that the information that I was giving them was more to do with the Scottish COVID inquiry. And then when I applied to them for a core participant status, they turned me down flat because I wasn't part of a group. Now, at this point, it showcased that the terms of reference were really only allowing you to become a core participant if you were part of a group. So I found that quite strange because I was bringing to them all the information that had been collated by me as the rep using the information that had been given to me by the members. So it was quite strange that they turned me down. So me being me, I continued to argue with them, and they came out. It must be no, wait a minute, that's wrong. They had a meeting with me in the November of 2023 regarding putting me on the stand regarding what happened to my mother, who had died during COVID, but not of COVID, but
Mhm.
all the kind of decisions, David, that were made, like the DNA, CPR, all the things that you and I have spoken about before, were really, they were indicative of what was going on at that time and how people were getting treated and how the law was getting simply deflected and placed. They were reverting back to the Scottish government guidance.
Yeah.
So all of this was to be discussed with the COVID inquiry. I think I was to be on the stand on the 22nd of November 2023. So that was cancelled because they said that they couldn't quite make the time frames. And I heard nothing from them again until March of last year, when they came to the house and to a statement again of me regarding the death of my mother. They then had another meeting with me regarding me giving evidence about me, the rep, and me, the registered nurse, and all that kind of collated together and basically discussed over the second period being in the stand. So I was due to be on the stand in May of last year. And then everything that happened was really quite strange because they had the statements for quite a long period of time, but they never sent them back to me to be signed off and said, yeah, that's absolutely fine. I agree with everything that's in them. It wasn't even 2 days before they were due to be signed off and resubmitted. as yet everybody's agreeing that was exactly what happened.
Mhm.
Now, I got them and I looked at them and they were seriously diluted. I'm talking about seriously diluted. So I contacted the inquiry and I was told to rewrite them. Now, I had a very, very short time
Yeah.
between getting them back and rewriting them in a way that was easy for people to understand, but it showed a clear and kind of concise view of everything that was going on at that point in time.
Yeah.
So I had to stay up, I think it was 36 hours on the
I
hoof.
remember this at
And
the time. I remember you actually putting in a very long shift over this. It broke you almost, didn't it?
yeah, it wasn't good because I was up the whole night trying to rewrite them, trying to
Yeah.
feel trying to walk away from tiredness, and it's easier said than done. However, I got them in on the Friday morning before 9 o'clock, so they were
Mhm.
submitted in, and I was due to meet with the inquiry lawyer at 11 o'clock. And at 11 o'clock, my phone went, which was quite strange because she was supposed to have a meeting with me online. And at that meeting, she told me that I was being removed from the COVID inquiry for a post that I had put up while I had been extremely tired. And that post was that to be honest, I was really angry that I had to sit and rewrite these, and no one seemed to actually have the competence to do it at their end.
Mm.
So they took that as a resignation from me to the COVID inquiry that I was not going to be giving evidence. So I asked at that point, so why are you covertly monitoring my Facebook account? They wouldn't give me any answer. She then told me that I could have appealed the decision, but before I even submitted an appeal, they removed me anyway, and put it up online for the public, in the public domain. This person will not be giving evidence at the COVID inquiry, and that was before I was even before I'd even submitted my appeal. I
Mhm.
submitted it anyway, and it went, it took the trajectory that we expected it to take, and I was removed anyway.
Yeah.
So earlier this year, I was quite, again, shocked to get a letter from them saying that they were going to make my statements public. And I thought, really? So I contacted, as you know, I'm the police complainer,
Mhm.
which the police criminal complaint is totally different from
Yeah.
the Scottish COVID inquiry. So I had to contact the Crown, and I asked the Crown if they thought it was a good idea to make these statements, public,
Yeah.
allow the public to read. And they sat on it for quite a long period of time. They then referred it to senior counsel, who came back and said, we don't have any problems with this going public, but it must be redacted accordingly.
Yeah.
So I had a long
Yeah, because
time.
it could put the criminal case in jeopardy, couldn't it?
Well, that was my concern, David,
Yeah.
was that the COVID inquiry have no jurisdiction to do anything but, it'll cost hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds for them to say, lessons will be learned. I
Mhm.
think, given that they have no jurisdiction to really do anything, anything at all of real substance, I decided to protect the criminal case.
Yeah.
And I contacted the police again, and I said that I had made the decision to pull from the Scottish COVID complaint completely. And I then contacted the Scottish COVID inquiry, and I told them, I don't want to hear from you again. I want every document that I've put in removed from the COVID inquiry. And I told them why. I
Mhm.
told them that I was extremely concerned about how they had managed my data, how they had been covertly looking on my Facebook page without
Mhm.
without
Yeah.
even saying, we are covertly looking at your Facebook page. It's very much indicative to what they were doing to Louise Lawrence. when they
Yeah.
were looking at her Facebook and social media. Only this time it was the health board that paid an outside company £15,000 to monitor her Facebook. So it was kind of obvious it was the same kind of, route they were taking.
Yeah.
So I displayed my displeasure to them, and I also reported them to the Scottish Legal Complaints Commission. So that's ongoing at the moment. I was so concerned about the lawyers within the Scottish COVID inquiry not following their own code of conduct.
Yeah.
Their communication appalling, telling me to put in an appeal when they were removing me anyway, covertly looking on my Facebook page. Is that an inquiry that I want anything to do with? It absolutely is not. So all my documents have been pulled from it.
Yeah. So have you actually had them returned to you?
No, because it was emailed. So I mean,
They were emailed. Yeah, yeah. So they're just being deleted from the report, and they're saying that they won't publish them. They won't make them public.
No, I don't want them made public.
No, but have they confirmed that they won't?
Yes. Well,
right.
do you know, actually, quite ironically, actually, they never answered me when I said to them. I sent them a letter saying I want nothing more to do with them. This is why, and I laid it all out for them. Lack of communication, sending people down to. I mean, while they were taking my statements, they recorded me. So because they recorded it, I recorded it, and basically, they, how they could possibly get it so far wrong when they were taking it from a recording that I also had is anyone's guess. And what I also did was I put in subject access requests. And as you know, the Data Protection Act works in two ways. Subject access, FOI. I put in subject access requests, and they sent me out information which I perused my way through. And there is nothing within any of that as to who was looking at my Facebook page. And I want to know who was perusing my Facebook page, and they will not tell me.
No, and you're entitled, aren't you? Because it's your data.
I want to know who was looking on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
And they keep reverting back to, we've given you all the information. They then sent me, when I said to them I was going to complain to the ICO about them, they then sent me out more information, and I was going to download it the day of I remember the really bad storm this year. And as I was going to download it that day, I probably left it to the last moment, so the fault partially is at my door. However, the electrics went out before I got to download it, and when I asked them to resend it, you can imagine what they said. So it's all about, I don't believe that any of these inquiries have the proper jurisdiction to do anything, and that is costing the taxpayers even more millions living in this country.
Yeah.
So that is why I have done what I have done.
So you're not happy about all this, really, are you? It's fair to say.
I'm very happy with how the police have dealt with it. They have been to the house 5 times. They have taken 5 statements, and I will be completely open and transparent here, and I will tell you that I've given them copious recordings, and under the Public Disclosures Act, I think it's 1998, section 43, if you think there is a chance that something could become bigger or someone is committing a crime, you have a right to record that meeting. And I recorded copious amounts of meetings during COVID with politicians, with senior members of the health board, and I believe that does supersede the Data Protection Act 2018 in relation to the law. So the police have got all those recordings, and they've been out at the house 5 times now. They've been in Greenock 5 times.
This covert surveillance, then. Sorry, I'm just jiggling about with stuff here, and I've got messages coming in at the bottom. And I'm trying to just deflecting there. So the covert surveillance, you Still haven't heard who's done it. You've got no idea. They're refusing to tell you, even though the law's on your side, because it's your data.
You live in a country that I don't believe actually runs anything by the law. I think that we are running, it's a country now that I don't even recognise.
No, no. Well,
I'm
I
very.
was going to say, Lesley, as someone who has been on the pointy end of it, myself and Craig, of course, being arrested because somebody's watched a video, didn't like it, and reported it, rather than just stop watching it. And the only reason the police would respond to something like that is if it came from powers that be. And I think that's what's happening with you. It's someone with influence, I think, is just doesn't want you to speak. I don't think it's necessarily the people running the shit show, really, the inquiry. I think it's the powers that be don't want information to come out to the inquiry. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I maybe went into court. I always knew that the system was bad. I worked in the health board for years. I knew what it was like, but I probably went into COVID never knowing just how bad this country is now. I mean, it's terrible. You can't. There's no recourse to challenge anything without something as serious as healthcare. And it's as if you've simply just to die and accept that was just, it was an avoidable death that no one will challenge. And I'm sorry, I just don't get that. That's not acceptable in my book.
unfortunately, these people think they can do whatever they like, and they appear to be right.
Well,
As you say, nobody's challenging. We don't have an opposition that challenges anymore.
no. I mean, to be honest, I totally agree. I mean, you sit and you listen to First Minister, if you want to call him a minister, First Minister's questions in absolute, disgust. Here was a man who wiped their COVID messages. However, what I will say about this is that they're now saying, yeah, they can't do this. This could be in the future, this could be something that's a criminal offence. I'm sorry, it's a criminal offence now. It's perverting the course of justice.
Yeah,
and
destruction of evidence.
If you are removing messages from your phone that could be seen to cause you issues later on, given what choices you have made, it's perverting the course of justice.
It is.
And therefore, that is a criminal matter now. So to turn around and say, yeah, you can't do it in the future, we've noticed now, it's all a ruse. It's all an absolute ruse.
It's all spin and deflection.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very, very concerning. And the more that comes out, nothing really seems to take traction. Nothing really seems to go. You've got people, and I'm not talking about everybody getting together and mass this and mass that, but you've got wee groups fighting their own corner about their mothers dying or their dads dying and the Liverpool pathway and DNA CPRs, but you don't have any real movement within this country to challenge what's going on.
No.
And that worries me. And I'm not in any way saying that we should be out there fighting or anything, because violence is not the answer. It's change that's the answer. It's making people sit up and saying, change is the answer here. Let's remove the politicians. Don't go out and smash other people's houses. Don't go out and just create violence for the sake of violence, because that is certainly not the answer. The answer is change, David.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to get people in power who, how do we say this, who aren't corrupt. And I'm very much of the opinion that the entirety of the SNP is one huge corrupt organisation. I don't believe it's a political party. I believe it's a criminal cabal. When you look at the things they're doing, and not just in relation to this, with everything they do is shady. And so they've worked everything so that they've even got the police covering up for them and the criminal justice system covering up for them. So it's no wonder that Scotland's in the state it's in.
Yes.
But the thing is, whoever takes over is going to be working within the same system. It needs a root and branch change. I personally believe that ever since Holyrood came back in 1999, it's all just been one big con, and the real people who suffered are the people of Scotland.
Absolutely. And I think what you've got as well, and what Roger Livermore and myself and Rab and all the kind of people who are fighting in our wee corner, we are saying, look, the Lord Advocate, the role needs to be a separate, it needs to be separated. You can't have a Lord Advocate in charge of the entire justice being accountable to a First Minister and all the cabinet. You've got someone who's a lawyer, but she should know that. She should know that the Scotland Act 1998, sections 44 and 48, which make her a junior government minister, as well as, a Lord Advocate, she should know that there's something far wrong there. So this is obviously suiting the powers that be, and yet no one is challenging it.
No one wants to change it because it suits them well enough.
Yes, and while we watch our council tax going through the roof, they're giving themselves rises, and there seems to be no recourse whatsoever to challenge anything in this dump, quite frankly, of a country.
Yeah, I mean, you've got an election next May, but what even that's going to change? It's still going to be the SNP, isn't it? Are going to still be the larger party.
I don't know. I mean, if what concerns me as well is, money. To be honest, I don't care what money they stole, how many camper vans they bought. I care about human life. I cared about my patients, my members, sadly, my mum. I cared about people's lives, not money. And what gets me is, even going through all of that, people are still voting for these people, knowing that Peter Morrell was the husband of Sturgeon, and yet he's been charged for this. Something seriously needs to change. I don't know what people are seeing that I'm not seeing, that they are still voting for a cabal of inept incompetence.
People are dumb. I mean, you've got to think about how stupid the average person is. And remember that half the people are stupider than that. And they're the ones that vote for the SNP, of course.
You're probably right. It all seems to be, the about abuse I take in the street, and I think it's turned a bit of a corner, because I was down the beach this morning, and a man stopped me to say that you're doing a really good thing. He's another one of your listeners, David.
You see, aim at last.
You're doing a very good job, but you're not reaching the amount of people that you need to reach to say, please open your eyes and see change. Even when I was trying to say about my mum and what had happened with DNA, CPR, and everything that happened to my mother, I get told that she was a victim in the war for independence. How does an 80-year-old person with dementia become a victim in the war for independence?
But there is no war for independence. This is the trouble. This is how they see it. This is how they couch things. Everything's got to be hate and war. And that's what really sickens me. Because beforehand, you could disagree in Scottish politics and it was fine. And you all went to the bar afterwards. Since Sturgeon came in, you can't disagree with someone. You have to hate someone.
Yes.
That's all she's done for Scottish politics, is introduce hate. And she's a sickening wee shite, to put it bluntly. It makes me vomit. Horrible woman.
I'm very, very angry with her. I'm very, very angry with her. And I will be devastated because I worked in this for 4 years, every single day, to put all these documents together. If the police don't do anything about this, I will be absolutely devastated, because given the information that I have given them, surely they have to.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. How well will they cover it up for her? That's the trouble.
I've tried my best. There's nothing else I can really do.
No. There's nowhere else you can take it now. You've given them all you've got. And if that's not enough, well, I think, it just confirms what we all think, really, doesn't it?
Yes. We live in a postage-size stamp, pothole-ridden, corrupt-ridden, absolute nightmare. So sorry, my phone's just
I
ringing.
know it was your phone.
I'll not tell you who it is. Sorry, I'll just. Sorry, can you still hear it?
I can still hear it. Yeah.
Sorry, I can't get it off. But yeah, it's a postage stamp ridden.
I just had a feeling that was Roger.
It wasn't. I'll tell you after who it
Okay.
was. So yeah, it's just I don't. I look at the country now and I see potholes. I see hatred. I see. It's a country that if I could afford to leave and I was younger, I would be off. I wouldn't stay here.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are like that. A lot of people are leaving. Scotland's got one of the fastest falling populations of anywhere in Britain. You know that?
Yes, it's
Low birth rate and people leaving.
But can you imagine knowing that you're bringing a child into a country that they don't know what a woman is?
I know. Well, they do know full well. They just don't want to acknowledge it because politically it's difficult for them because they need the Green votes.
Yes, but I don't know when he looks in a mirror. I mean, does he look in the mirror and go, "What am I?" I mean, if he
Well, a lot of
can't
people
even
look at Swinney and think, "What the hell are you?" But not in that way.
it's just it's a world that I would not like to be young, because you've got this LGBTQI plus. I don't know what the plus is supposed to be now.
The plus is for what they call minor attracted persons. In other words, what we used to call peds. That's what the plus is.
Really?
Yeah. That's why lesbian, gays and bis, the LGB part, are all trying to distance themselves from the whole organisation. When you go on these pride marches, lesbians and gays and that don't go on them. The T's, the Q's and all that, they hate the lesbians and the gays. And so they're saying, look, can we just be the LGBs over here and the rest of you go over there, because LGB is attraction. All the rest is mental illness. And the LGBs are leaving the LGBTQ plus A, whatever, alphabet people.
Oh my
But
goodness.
the plus is paedophiles.
Oh my goodness, no.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
So when you're doing let's do pride, what you're actually saying is, hey, let's support the paedophiles. But then we point that out to people and they go, that's not what it stands for. And I go, Google it. And they come back and they're horrified.
I honestly didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what the plus is.
I mean, I think that people should be allowed to live as they want to live, as long as that doesn't impact negatively on other people.
If someone wants to parade down Sauchiehall Street in a pair of slingbacks and an A-line dress, I don't care. But when they start to go into the toilet where my wife is, that's when I care.
And anybody who's attracted to a child, I mean, how could you be? It's just, yes. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness.
I've shocked you. Anyway, Lesley, my little clock timer's coming up, because you only get so long on these unless you want to pay for them, and I'm not paying Zoom. So my little clock timer's coming up. We'll have to draw round to an end. So let me just round this off with us. Thoughts for the future. What's your future now? Is that you done completely with COVID?
The COVID inquiry, yes. However, in the future, I would like to think that you will read about how they made people DNA CPR without the family's knowledge. I would like people to know about the morphine and the midazolam. I would like people to know how they cut back on video recording and cut the link between contact to contract. All of this was in my statements, all of it, and how they downgraded the pandemic. So at some point, I will be putting the statements out. But at the moment, I want to protect the police case fully.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That you said about the midazolam, I first saw that when I was a doctor, John something, or a chief nurse or something. Oh, John, is his face? Can't think of the name. Older man. Anyway, he was talking us through it, all that. And he sort of pointed this out, and then he showed the receipts that the Scottish government had actually put out the messaging saying, basically, one of the treatments for COVID was euthanasia, with midazolam and morphine. And I was shocked, and he was shocked. And they're taking it down, but you have this thing called the Wayback Machine, which gets the old websites up. And they had it, and they had the receipts. Nobody could believe it.
Backdrop, yeah.
Yeah.
they were also putting people on drug trials without telling the families as well.
Yeah. Oh,
So maybe
it was human experimentation. Mengele would have been proud.
it's very, very sad. Very.
Yeah.
It's probably affected the rest of my life. I will never see Scotland the way I used to. I hate living here. I hate what life is like here.
I think you've possibly got PTSD over this whole thing.
David, it wouldn't surprise me given that I've lost my mother, my job, my car. I had to move home. I'm living in a location. I'm still on a police protection order.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me, but I'm not going to allow them to, damage the rest of my life. They've damaged enough.
Yeah.
And
Quite right.
still get my moral compass in place.
Yeah. Well, I am coming back up shortly, and I will absolutely see you this time because I'm going to come up midweek.
Right.
And I shall do it because I know I don't know where you live. I know where you live in terms of where you are, and it's not a problem because I'm going to be coming up. We're going to be doing Craig as well. I'm going to see Craig as well on there. So I'll round that out off screen with you at some point when I get dates. But yeah, that'd be cracking to see you finally and do a video and welcome you. But anyway, thank you very much for coming on today. Most enlightening. And it's a shame that basically you've been effectively ousted from COVID, but the reasons why I think are far more important because obviously that that criminal case is primacy now, isn't it? So let's hope that you get victory with the criminal case.
Given the work that I've put into the criminal case and given the amount of times the police have been down here and contacted me, if it doesn't go ahead, I don't know what else anyone could have done.
No, I think you're right. Anyway, Lesley, thank you very much. We will speak soon and I hope to get you on again very shortly. Till next time, goodbye.
Goodbye, David.